on prior to the discussion on how it would be structured. To a person, every one of the leaders, including the president, mentioned that getting capital to small businesses, allowing them to borrow money to meet payrolls or expand, is one of the most important things that we can do. Some other differences were discussed in terms of how that is structured.
Whether you start funds.
But each of the leaders talked about how you're going to pay for this. We have authority to use money to help banks get the capital they need to lend. So this is, as both the Treasury Secretary, Dr. Summers, and Dr. Romer, all three of them said, unless we do something like this, lending is going to contract. We have this authority, and that authority is the permissible authority under TARP is to get our financial system going through lending, that this was an easy, common sense way to get that done.
The president highlighted, as did Senator McConnell out at the stakeout, the fact that the Republicans like some of his energy ideas. Was there the clean coal, nuclear power? Was there any discussion in the meeting of moving forward with a comprehensive energy bill that would include those elements as well as some of the Democratic proposals?
Senator McConnell brought up some ideas that the president had proposed in the State of the Union that he thought many Republicans would support. He mentioned, as you mentioned, clean coal technology, which the president has supported since running for office in Illinois in 2003 and 2004. Mentioned increasing nuclear loans, which is in our budget, and talked about offshore oil drilling, something that the president supported at the end of the last campaign. I think, as you heard the president say, he's certainly prepared to walk away from some in his party that think we can't do those things. Now, in order to get some of this done, we need that give and take with the Republicans.
But did you have any of that? Was there any serious
That
discussion?
wasn't part of that wasn't a long topic that was discussed. I think the president said to Senator McConnell that if that's what he supports, then he'll be pleasantly surprised at what the administration supports.
Robert,
George?
In the State of the Union, the president made a mention of the 3 trade deals
Yep.
that are pending, but he didn't say they should be ratified. There's been a lot of speculation on that. Does he want them ratified this year? And if so, is there political damage there because it's 2010 and labor certainly would not be happy with that?
George, again, this is a good example of what has to be give and take. Look, the president mentioned those 3. We didn't lay out a specific deadline, but the president that believes that in order to create jobs here, we have to increase the amount of exports that are leaving this country. He has a very robust agenda on exports, and they include those free trade agreements. David?
But should they be ratified this year?
Again, the president didn't lay out timelines in the State of the Union and didn't do so in this meeting. David?
The president just said that the American public has soured on the process in response to health care reform. Can you explain how a health care summit 2 weeks from now will change that? What are you hoping to get in terms of conveying to the public something else is going on now?
Well, I think that the president hopes an offshoot of this meeting with Democrats and Republicans is to take everybody at their word, including Senators McConnell and Leader Boehner today, in that the status quo is unacceptable. You heard the president outline what's happening in California with the individual insurance market. We understand that what we're doing now isn't sustainable. It isn't sustainable when we deal with our deficit. It isn't sustainable in what we do with our small businesses. Having this discussion, having everyone be able to see this discussion, and being able to discuss openly the ideas that each party wants to bring to the table, the president believes can help move this process forward. it started in what the president did in Baltimore, and the president hopes it will continue on February 25th at the White House. So,
But Representative Cantor is already saying it's a dog and pony show, and we have no interest in discussing
Well-
the failed bills of the Democrats that have already been rejected by the American public. He said that this morning.
well, look, I can't imagine.
Where's the avenue for discussion then?
I can't imagine that a group that wanted to sit down and talk in a bipartisan way with the president about health care would now walk away from the process of sitting down in a bipartisan way and talking to the president on health care. I mean, David, I hear crazy stuff in this town all the time, but to literally move one day from your talking points of we need a transparent process where the president sits down and looks at and takes seriously our ideas on health care, and then the next day says, my gosh, what you want us to do is, in a transparent way, sit down and talk about our ideas on health care? Well, we can't possibly do that. So, look, I'll decide. Representative Cantor can decide whether he agrees with himself in yesterday's letter or whether he agrees with himself just a few weeks ago when he was making these arguments. Sam?
One of the conditions that Republican leadership is asking for prior to the meeting is that reconciliation be taken off the table. Is the White House willing to go there?
Sam, I think that Republicans should come to the White House to discuss their ideas without any preconditions.
That's
Bill?
an answer, really.
Go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to say that.
Well, I
wasn't-
said there won't be any, the president's not going to limit anything based on preconditions. If that's one of their preconditions, the president doesn't agree to limiting the way we're going to discuss this. Bill?
Robert, based on some of the reaching out that you just discussed with Chip on healthcare with the Republicans, does the president see this February 25th summit then as kind of the last chance for the Republicans to come to the table and agree on something, or else he's just going to do it with Democratic votes?
No, I don't. I think the president believes this is the next best chance to do it, and the president's going to take Republicans seriously that they want to come discuss these issues. You're laughing, and I haven't even finished my answer.
How many more chances, is he going to extend before he just says they're not going to play, so we're just going to go with Democratic votes?
Well, Bill, I think if there was a way to have solved this prior to today, we wouldn't be. Mike.
I appreciate your notes on the hand gag. Does the White House, how closely did the White House monitor the Tea Party convention this weekend? Do you have any reaction to what was said there? And
I didn't watch it. I didn't watch it at all.
do you see the Tea Party movement as a real political force this year?
Look, it seems to be a very successful private enterprise. I would say that there appear to be fewer speech makers that are unemployed in this economy than what might have been previously reported. Look, I think whether you're part of an organized party, whether you're part of a movement that has a convention, I think what we saw in 2008, what we saw in Massachusetts, what we see across the country is a great deal of anxiety about what we've been through. We discussed this a little on Friday when we talked about the jobs report. The reformulation of how many jobs have been lost in this recession, 8.4 million, exceeds what had been lost in the recession of 1981, the recession of 1991, and the recession of 2001 combined. So for a long period of time, this anxiety is built. Whether you're, again, a Democrat or a Republican, an independent, a member of the Tea Party movement, you want to see this town be able to sit down and talk about their differences, but also not just focus on their differences. And I noticed that a lot of questions in here focus on what we disagree on, not what we agree on. I think the president wants to sit down, whether it's in a bipartisan meeting to talk about the economy and jobs, whether it's in a bipartisan meeting to talk about health care, to find some agreement on what we're for. There are plenty of outlets for people to discuss what they're against. What the American people want us to do is come together and make some progress and move forward in what we agree on to help their lives, to help them pay for a college education, to help get this economy restarted again, to help them get the credit they need to start or expand a small business. That's what the American people want to see this town work on. I think that's what the president wants to work on too. Thanks, guys.